Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. The number. The number. I wish I had a couple of dollars for every time somebody has asked me that question, the number. How much money do I need to retire? How much money do I need to enjoy retirement? And my quick and dirty response typically is, I don't know.
All of it.
That's an excellent answer. But I don't know. What really precipitated this conversation, there's a lady I've come to know out of Chucker Farm where I play polo. She's a boarder, she rides horses, and I met her about 5 years ago. And the first time we talked, she asked me, what's the number? I said, I don't know. Depends on you. And she asked me again. I said, well, typically you want to have at least $1 million, but it really depends. And I saw her this past week. She and her boyfriend are starting a new website. She's anticipating her life beyond retirement, which is where this talk is ultimately going to go, is what's beyond retirement. And it's called Geezers.com. And it's designed for living a rich life in retirement. That's bluntly the answer to the question of the number. And she wanted me to participate in this website, be one of her gurus, and talk about things that are of meaning to people that are entering in retirement. And I thought about, well, what would be a better topic other than the number? It's on everybody's mind. Now, here's one of the dirty little secrets about the number. For most of us, when we really start thinking about the number, there's not enough time to really do much if you haven't already done what you need to get to the number that you want. There's a guy named Lee Eisenberg. He's former editor-in-chief of Esquire magazine. He wrote a terrific book about 10 years ago titled The Number. As he was approaching his own retirement, he started thinking about what retirement was going to be like and how much money he needed, how much money he wanted to enter retirement. He spent 300 pages. It was a wonderful read, but at the end, nobody knows. Nobody knows what the number is. For most of my life, my number's been $5 million. 10, 12 years ago, that was actually a realistic, achievable objective for me. But as often happens, life intervenes. I went through a contentious divorce. We had custody issues, we had custody battles, we had private school. I started a new business. We had the Great Recession, and $5 million is probably no longer in my horizon. But let me tell you something that I did learn. And what I want to do here with this talk is shift the conversation from the number to what are you going to do? And even more important, are you making the most of what you have? One of the things I've learned after going through all of this crap in my life, and everybody goes through crap, is living in the present and making the most of what you have. What I have learned is human beings adapt. And if you have the proper mindset and an ability to appreciate what you do have rather than what might or might not be missing from your life, retirement doesn't matter. I don't want to retire. When I was in the IT business, I lived for retirement. I used to sit on my expansive front porch. I'd look out on my 6 acres of land and I'd be sipping a very fine single malt scotch. And as the liquor was kind of coursing through my bloodstream, I would just move into the future. And I'd think about my life in retirement. And at some point it occurred to me that I was spending too much time in the future. I was living a life that I hadn't achieved yet. Now here's another dirty little secret about human beings. Generally, we do a very poor job of figuring out future happiness. Because when we think about future happiness, we're in the present. Whether we realize it, recognize it, acknowledge it or not, we're in the present. And life is going to happen between the present and this mystical, fantastical future that we're thinking about. And over the course of a couple of months, as I began thinking more and more about this notion of the future versus the present, I started living more in the present. And I started appreciating what I had, making the most of what I have. And as I look on my life today, $5 million is probably not achievable. But I've got an excellent income. It's growing. I have friends that care for me. I have family that loves me. I play an incredibly exciting sport, polo. I live in a wonderful home in an incredibly wonderful neighborhood. I have everything I need. I will adapt. And I will make the most of whatever the future brings to me. I am confident that no matter what happens, I'll deal with it. What I want you to think about, instead of the number, to me what is much more important is what am I going to do? And am I making the most of what I have? That's really what retirement, whatever your definition might be, but that's what it's all about. Am I going to make the most of what I have today? Am I going to live in the present? Am I going to appreciate all of the neat little things that flow into my life? Forget about the number. The number will change. Focus more on what am I going to do, and am I making the most of what I have? Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike.